Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we've got a very special lesson for you all about time.
That's right. We're going to concentrate a little bit on some specific points of grammar this time, and we're going to talk about the morning routine, what you do in the mornings.
Well, let's take a look first at the word routine. This is our vocabulary preview for today.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, so a routine or the morning routine. What is a routine?
A routine is basically your habit for a certain period of time. Mm-hmm. So, for example, your routine in the morning is what you do when you wake up.
Right.
Get breakfast and go to work. You can also have an evening routine. Mm-hmm. It's what you always do before you go to bed.
Exactly. So everyone has a routine, what they do in the mornings, maybe what you do at night before going to bed. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
That's right. You can also have an exercise routine. So basically anything with steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that you always do the same way. That's the routine.
Exactly. Right. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. Why don't we jump right into our dialogue and listen to Stephanie's routine.
Stephanie, did you just get to school? But you were up and about when I left the dorm this morning. That was about an hour and a half ago. This happens all the time. Why do you always take so long to get ready in the mornings?
It's a skill. What can I say? I don't know why. I just have a long routine.
Please explain, because it makes no sense to me. How can a girl's routine be so complicated? You get up, you shower, you get dressed, you brush your teeth, you're out the door. Half an hour tops.
Jacob, you have the luxury of having a haircut that rarely needs styling. I don't. I have to set aside about an hour and a half to get ready in the mornings. Every day, I wake up and head straight for the shower. Every second day, I wash my hair. If it's a hair washing day, I frequently need to wash my hair twice because it gets really oily. Then I usually put in a conditioner and have to rinse that out too. Because my hair is so long, I seldom manage to take a shower in under 20 minutes. Afterwards, I often put on a pot of coffee and get dressed while I wait for it to brew. I take a long time to get dressed in the morning. Every now and then I remember to choose my outfit the night before, but usually I do it in the morning. In all, getting dressed takes about half an hour, at which time my hair is now semi-dry, so then I have to style my hair. From time to time, I'll put my hair up, but oftentimes I blow dry it straight. And then, because of the texture of my hair, I regularly have to flat iron it to keep it from frizzing. That's another 20 minutes or so. After that, I have my daily makeup routine.
True, I hardly ever see you without your hair done and your makeup on, even when you show up to class in sweatpants. Tell me, how long does it take you to choose that outfit in the morning?
Not funny.
All right, we're back. So obviously she has a very complicated routine. I don't know if all girls are like this.
I'm not like this, but I think a lot of girls and some guys are.
Really?
I don't want to be sexist here. I know some guys who take their time in the morning and are very, very particular about the way that they look.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I imagine everyone has their morning routine in different ways. And it was interesting to see how she described it. So why don't we take a look at language takeaway?
Language takeaway.
So today's language takeaway, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, is all about time. So we're going to look at some of these important time adverbs.
That's right. These are called adverbs of frequency. And basically, they are telling us how we do things. If we do something all the time or if we never do something.
Or everything in between.
Exactly.
So the first couple we have today are very, very common words. You're going to hear these a lot. The first one is frequently.
Okay, frequently. So if you do something frequently, consider it to be about 75% of the time. Maybe a little bit more, almost 85% of the time.
Right. So it's not always, but it's very often. So for example, I frequently forget to take my keys when I'm leaving the house, which is a very big problem.
Exactly. So considering out of 7 days, maybe you forget your keys 5 days.
Not so good.
All right. So that's frequently. Now let's move on to another one that's actually a lot less. We talk about seldom. seldom?
Well, Marco has told me that he seldom forgets his keys. That means he almost always remembers them.
Right. So seldom is a negative adverb. It's saying that almost never. Okay, so if I say, for example, I seldom go to the movies.
That's too bad. I like the movies.
Right? Well, that means that I maybe go to the movie theater once a month.
Yeah, not very often.
Not
seldom.
very often. Seldom. All right. Now, going back to a positive adverb of frequency, we have often. You described frequently as very often.
That's right. So I could also say, I often forget my keys, or it often rains in tropical places. This means this is a common thing.
Exactly. So again, let's consider it to be about 70 to 80% of the time. Now, with pronunciation, some people like to pronounce often, right? They kind of leave out the strong T sound. Well, other people say often.
That's right.
Both forms are correct, right?
Yes, they're both correct. So you're safe using either of these.
Right. Okay. And our third adverb of frequency, no, our fourth. And our fourth adverb of frequency is also a positive one, and we say usually.
Usually means this is something that you do pretty consistently. I usually brush my hair before I go to sleep. That means not always, but almost every day.
Right. So let's consider out of 7 days, you do it 6 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually do this.
Okay. So usually is, again, very, very common. And something in between, maybe 60% of the time, 50% of the time, we say regularly.
Well, I think of the word regularly as being very closely related to regular. So basically, if I have a schedule, I do the same thing every day. I do it regularly. But sometimes there's a special occasion. For example, I regularly run 5 kilometers after work when I go to the gym. But sometimes when I want to go out with my friends, I don't run. So
Right.
it's not always, but it is pretty regular.
Exactly. So regularly means you do it very often, but there are some exceptions. Okay. Now, those are our adverbs of frequency, but we have a couple of other phrases that are very similar, so we want to take a look at those as well. Let's go back to the beginning of Stephanie's routine when she said that every day I wake up. Okay, so every day means 100% of the time, every single day.
Monday to Sunday.
Exactly. So obviously you wake up every day.
Or I brush my teeth twice every day.
So that's 100% of the time. Now, if we say every second day, what does that mean?
That means Monday, yes. Tuesday, no. Wednesday, yes. Thursday, no. Or any day. So basically, she says, I wash my hair every second day. That means one day I wash my hair, but the next day I don't. The day after that, though, I wash it again. Every second day.
Okay, so you can say every second day, and I think you can also say every other day, right?
Every other day.
So every other day or every second day.
He calls his mother every other day.
Very good. All right. And she also said that every now and then I remember to choose my outfit.
Okay, well, this one's interesting. This is not very frequent. This is basically saying sometimes.
Sometimes. So now and then. Every now and then means I sometimes do it, I sometimes don't do it.
Every now and then, I really want to eat chocolate, so I buy a candy bar.
Okay, so maybe you want to eat chocolate twice in a month.
Yeah, not very often.
Not very often. Okay. And another one that's very similar is from time to time.
So Marco said that he doesn't go to the movies very frequently, so he goes from time to time.
Right, so I can say I seldom go to the movies, or I can say I like to go to the movies from time to time.
That's right. Or this girl is describing her appearance. She says, from time to time, I put my hair up. So that means most of the time. That means sometimes it's down.
Right.
Sometimes it's up.
Right, so as you can see, there are many different ways of describing the frequency or how many times you do certain actions or your routine, right? So you can use this with a lot of things when you're describing.
And we encourage you to try some of these new ones because a lot of English learners use the same time adverbs whenever they speak. So try and really use some of these and challenge yourself.
Exactly. All right, so that's all we have for language takeaway. Why don't we move on now to Fluency Builder?
Fluency Builder.
Okay, so using some of these adverbs, I can say, I regularly make a pot of coffee in the morning.
Okay, so a pot of coffee. You regularly make a pot of coffee. That means you like to drink coffee every day.
That's right. I always need my cup of coffee in the morning, so I usually make it first thing.
So a pot of coffee, we know what a cup of coffee is, but a pot of coffee, what is a pot?
A pot is basically the container that you use when you brew coffee, when you make it. So you put the coffee beans in the machine, and instead of having a cup underneath, you have a bigger container. That's a pot. You can also have a pot of tea.
Exactly.
It's many cups, usually 8 or 10 cups.
All right. And remember that verb, to brew coffee. I think it's a very nice, kind of fancy way of saying making coffee.
Brew a pot of coffee.
I'm brewing some coffee. All right. So apart from coffee and all of these things, let's take a look at some of the specific phrases that she used when she was talking about her hair, because I think her hair is very complicated.
It is very complicated. Sometimes she washes her hair. Sometimes she doesn't wash her hair. Sometimes she blow dries it straight.
Okay, so to blow dry means that you use a blow dryer.
That's right. This is a machine that uses electricity to blow hot air on your hair so that your hair will dry quickly. But you can blow dry your hair in many ways. Some people have curly hair, and they have special tools for making their hair curly. But she says she blow dries it straight. That means she makes it straight with hot air.
Right, so I think the way you do this is you take the blow dryer and a brush, and you brush while you blow dry, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
Making lines.
See, I know a little bit about this, even though I don't have long enough hair for this.
No, I guess, well, maybe you are secretly one of those guys who has a routine like this woman.
I don't think I can take this much time in the shower and brushing my hair. But moving on, actually, I also know this next phrase, to flat iron your hair.
Okay, so flat iron is a noun and a verb. So I use a flat iron, or I can flat iron my hair. This is a tool that we use that's very, very hot. Think of an iron. It's very, very hot, and it basically presses my hair and makes it very, very, very thin and flat and straight.
Right. So I think people that have straight hair don't need to really flat iron their hair.
Nah, but if you have very curly hair, then you need it.
So what's the difference? Give us the insight here. Why wouldn't you just blow dry it straight? Why do you need to flat iron it?
Because a flat iron makes it more flat. It makes your hair stick together more, and it's much, much, much hotter than a blow dryer.
Okay. So I guess if you use a blow dryer, then you have puffy hair, or like the next word that she described, frizzy hair.
Okay, so the adjective to describe this kind of hair is frizzy. For example, when it's very rainy, my hair is frizzy. That means that it sticks out. It's very thick and not straight.
Okay.
It's not curly, but it's, it's messy.
It kind of inflates.
That's right. It's like a little balloon. But the verb here is to frizz. So my hair is frizzing.
Okay. And that means that it's getting like this, bigger or inflated.
That's right. So usually girls who have this problem have it worse during very humid or rainy days. Not so bad when it's dry.
Okay, so I actually have a little bit of frizzy hair. That's why I have to use some sort of
hair gel
or mousse. See, it's not because I'm vain. It's just because if I don't use this, I'll come in looking like a lion. And I don't think
I think I might have to insist that happens sometime soon. We can take a picture and put it on our website, englishbot.com.
For sure. All right, so why don't we go back and listen to the dialogue one last time.
Stephanie, did you just get to school? But you were up and about when I left the dorm this morning. That was about an hour and a half ago. This happens all the time. Why do you always take so long to get ready in the mornings?
It's a skill. What can I say? I don't know why. I just have a long routine.
Please explain, because it makes no sense to me. How can a girl's routine be so complicated? You get up, you shower, you get dressed, you brush your teeth, you're out the door. Half an hour tops.
Jacob, you have the luxury of having a haircut that rarely needs styling. I don't. I have to set aside about an hour and a half to get ready in the mornings. Every day, I wake up and head straight for the shower. Every second day, I wash my hair. If it's a hair washing day, I frequently need to wash my hair twice because it gets really oily. Then I usually put in a conditioner and have to rinse that out too. Because my hair is so long, I seldom manage to take a shower in under 20 minutes. Afterwards, I often put on a pot of coffee and get dressed while I wait for it to brew. I take a long time to get dressed in the morning. Every now and then I remember to choose my outfit the night before, but usually I do it in the morning. In all, getting dressed takes about half an hour, at which time my hair is now semi-dry, so then I have to style my hair. From time to time, I'll put my hair up, but oftentimes I blow dry it straight. And then, because of the texture of my hair, I regularly have to flat iron it to keep it from frizzing. That's another 20 minutes or so. After that, I have my daily makeup routine.
True, I hardly ever see you without your hair done and your makeup on, even when you show up to class in sweatpants. Tell me, how long does it take you to choose that outfit in the morning?
Not funny.
All right, so actually talking about morning routines, and we've given you so many tools, I think it would be a great idea if our users came to our site, englishpod.com, and posted a part of their morning routine, trying to use as many adverbs of frequency as possible.
That's a great suggestion. And to get you all started, I could give you a little bit of my routine.
All right, let's hear it.
Every morning when I wake up, I turn off the alarm, which is very loud, and I take a shower.
Mm-hmm.
I always brush my teeth, and I usually brew a pot of coffee, although sometimes I don't have time to brew my coffee, and I wait until I arrive at my office.
Mm-hmm.
I seldom choose the clothes I will wear the night before. I almost always choose them in the morning, and generally I ride my bike to work, but not always.
Okay, I think in the winter you seldom ride your bike to work.
Every once in a while I ride
Every
it.
now and then. All right, see? You have a perfect example there of more or less what we expect, but also it would be interesting to see if you have any other type of routine. I know some people wake up in the morning and the first thing they do, they always walk their dog, for example.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Other people are very hungry, so they almost always eat
First.
right when they wake up.
I eat before I brush my teeth.
Well, it's smart, actually.
Yeah. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Often. Frequently. Almost never. Seldom. Whenever. At which time. Once in a while. From time to time. Frequently. Oftentimes. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. A set of clothes. Outfit.
Let's try that faster.
Often. Frequently. Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. Frequently. Oftentimes. Almost never. Seldom. Once in a while. From time to time. A set of clothes. Outfit. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Whenever. At which time.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Up and about. Once I started taking the medication, I was up and about in no time. Up and about. He's usually up and about by 7 a.m. Up and about. Everyone else in the house is usually already up and about by the time I wake up. Set aside. I set aside 20 minutes every day to meditate. Set aside. You really need to set aside some time this week to work on your final project. Set aside. I set aside food for the next day's lunch and then ate the rest for dinner. Frequently. She frequently visits her grandfather on the weekends. Frequently. I frequently like to take drives in the countryside to get out of the city. Frequently. I eat the fish, but not frequently, maybe once or twice a month. Seldom. He seldom speaks about his family. Seldom. My roommate is always in her room. She seldom comes out. Seldom. I seldom manage to see my family now that I'm living on the other side of the country. At which time, I walked in the room, at which time my dog leaped up and gave me a huge kiss. At which time, dessert was served after dinner, at which time a string quartet began to play. At which time, he found a dead end, so he turned around and started to walk back down the alleyway, at which time several gang members turned the corner and stopped in front of him.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Often. Frequently. Almost never. Seldom. Whenever. At which time. Once in a while. From time to time. Frequently. Oftentimes. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. A set of clothes. Outfit.
Let's try that faster.
Often. Frequently. Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. Frequently. Oftentimes. Almost never. Seldom. Once in a while. From time to time. A set of clothes. Outfit. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Whenever. At which time.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Up and about. Once I started taking the medication, I was up and about in no time. Up and about. He's usually up and about by 7 a.m. Up and about. Everyone else in the house is usually already up and about by the time I wake up. Set aside. I set aside 20 minutes every day to meditate. Set aside. You really need to set aside some time this week to work on your final project. Set aside. I set aside food for the next day's lunch and then ate the rest for dinner. Frequently. She frequently visits her grandfather on the weekends. Frequently. I frequently like to take drives in the countryside to get out of the city. Frequently. I eat the fish, but not frequently, maybe once or twice a month. Seldom. He seldom speaks about his family. Seldom. My roommate is always in her room. She seldom comes out. Seldom. I seldom manage to see my family now that I'm living on the other side of the country. At which time, I walked in the room, at which time my dog leaped up and gave me a huge kiss. At which time, dessert was served after dinner, at which time a string quartet began to play. At which time, he found a dead end, so he turned around and started to walk back down the alleyway, at which time several gang members turned the corner and stopped in front of him.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Often. Frequently. Almost never. Seldom. Whenever. At which time. Once in a while. From time to time. Frequently. Oftentimes. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. A set of clothes. Outfit.
Let's try that faster.
Often. Frequently. Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. Frequently. Oftentimes. Almost never. Seldom. Once in a while. From time to time. A set of clothes. Outfit. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Whenever. At which time.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Up and about. Once I started taking the medication, I was up and about in no time. Up and about. He's usually up and about by 7 a.m. Up and about. Everyone else in the house is usually already up and about by the time I wake up. Set aside. I set aside 20 minutes every day to meditate. Set aside. You really need to set aside some time this week to work on your final project. Set aside. I set aside food for the next day's lunch and then ate the rest for dinner. Frequently. She frequently visits her grandfather on the weekends. Frequently. I frequently like to take drives in the countryside to get out of the city. Frequently. I eat the fish, but not frequently, maybe once or twice a month. Seldom. He seldom speaks about his family. Seldom. My roommate is always in her room. She seldom comes out. Seldom. I seldom manage to see my family now that I'm living on the other side of the country. At which time, I walked in the room, at which time my dog leaped up and gave me a huge kiss. At which time, dessert was served after dinner, at which time a string quartet began to play. At which time, he found a dead end, so he turned around and started to walk back down the alleyway, at which time several gang members turned the corner and stopped in front of him.
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to another lesson with us here at English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we have a lesson for all our university students out there.
That's right. We're talking about registering for university.
Okay, so it's a difficult process sometimes, even in your own language. So we're going to try and make it a little bit easier by giving you some of the common words you would need to register at a university.
All right. Well, I think it's time we get started by listening to the dialogue. And we're going to listen to a young female student as she tries to choose her classes.
Excuse me, is this where I register? I'd like to sign up for my courses for next semester.
Yes, of course. I need your student ID, please.
Here you are.
Okay, Susan. It says here that you are a business major and that you're in your second year. Is this information correct?
Yes, I do want to take some additional credits this year to get a minor in psychology.
Sure, that's not a problem. Do you have the list of courses that you want to take this semester?
Yeah, here's my list. I'm not sure if the class schedule will allow me to take all of them, though.
Yeah, that's perfect. What about the subjects for your minor?
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I need to take fundamental linguistics, consumer psychology, and neuroanatomy.
Wow, you're going to be busy this semester. Okay, here you go. You're registered now. You have to make your first tuition payment before classes start.
All right, great. A very good student, taking a lot of classes this semester.
I know. And it sounds like some of them are pretty hard as well.
Yeah, they are. Well, she used some of those very common phrases that we would need when we are registering at university. So let's take a look at them now in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Okay, so the first thing, I think we need to deal with this word to register.
Register.
So register for university.
Okay, so we've mentioned this word many times, so I think it would be a good idea to listen to some examples, and then we'll come back and explain it.
Example 1.
I registered to attend the conference on international trade this month.
Example 2.
It is your obligation as a good citizen to register to vote.
Example 3.
It is necessary to register on our website before joining the conference.
So when you register for something, you put your name down on a list, right? So in this case, when you register for university, you officially put your name on the list of students in that course.
Okay, so you can register for university. What else can you register for?
Register for a class. You can even register to vote.
Okay, so Register. Now, she was registering for her classes, and we saw these words that we know already, but it's a good idea to take a look at them. We heard that she is a business major.
So a major.
A major.
A business major.
And what is your major?
The major is the major area that you study, the most important area that you study.
The area where you are specialized.
Yeah, the area that you focus on.
Okay. Now, we heard another one that's called a minor.
So this is another area that you study, but it is less important than your major.
Okay, so major and your minor.
So let's give an example. Imagine you must take 100 classes to graduate from university. Maybe you have to take 50 for your major and maybe 30 for your minor.
Okay, very good. And now on your degree, on your title, does it say what is your major and minor?
Well, I think it depends on the university, but in my case, yes.
Okay, very good. So major and minor.
Yep.
Now, related to this and what you were saying about your classes, it takes us to our next word, which is credits.
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 Now, this is easily confused with classes sometimes.
That's right. Well, a credit is kind of a point. So in university, you need a certain number of credits or points to graduate.
Okay. So suppose you need 100 credits to graduate.
So that's not 100 courses because each course might be worth 4 or 6 or 8 credits, depending on how important it is.
Very good. So maybe the classes that are part of your major will have more credits. All right. Very good. And now we have our last word in this dialogue, and it was tuition.
Tuition.
She had to pay her tuition.
So tuition is the money that you must pay for education.
Okay, only for education.
That's right. So university tuition, private school tuition, or even language course tuition.
Okay, so a tuition is the money you must pay for school only.
Yep.
So we've seen a lot of great words used for registering at university. So I think it's time to listen to the dialogue for the second time a little bit slower, and then we'll come back and take a look at some phrases.
Excuse me, is this where I register? I'd like to sign up for my courses for next semester.
Yes, of course. I need your student ID, please.
Here you are.
Okay, Susan. It says here that you are a business major and that you're in your second year. Is this information correct?
Yes. I do want to take some additional credits this year to get a minor in psychology.
Sure, that's not a problem. Do you have the list of courses that you want to take this semester?
Yeah, here's my list. I'm not sure if the class schedule will allow me to take all of them, though.
Yeah, that's perfect. What about the subjects for your minor?
Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. I need to take fundamental linguistics, consumer psychology, and neuroanatomy.
Wow, you're going to be busy this semester. Okay, here you go. You're registered now. You have to make your first tuition payment before classes start.
All right, so it's time for putting it together.
Putting it together.
And we're going to look at some phrases here that we can use to talk about education and university, and we can use them in different ways.
All right, and our first phrase is actually very similar to register.
To sign up for something.
Okay, I want to sign up for.
I'd like to sign up for my courses.
I think it would be a good idea if we listen to some examples of how we can use this phrase.
Example 1.
I signed up for a 1-year gym membership.
Example 2.
If you want to assist our meeting, you need to sign up first.
Example 3.
I hate signing up for things online because they just send you spam emails.
Okay, so I can see that to sign up for something is to agree to take part in it.
Okay, so it's a little bit more informal than register.
Yeah, exactly. Less formal.
All right. So moving on to our second phrase. This is very important because it's often used improperly, right?
Yeah, people often make mistakes with this phrase.
All right, so let's look at this phrase, second year.
So she is in her second year.
Now, it seems very simple, so why are we explaining this?
Well, it often gets confused with grade. So when we talk about university, we talk about first year, second year, third year, fourth year. We cannot say grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4.
Or year 1, year 2.
No, it's always first year, second year, third year, fourth year.
Okay, very good. Or last year.
Yeah, last year.
My last year of college.
Exactly.
Very good. So now you know how you can explain to someone what year of college or university you're in.
Yes, that's right.
Very good. And we have one more phrase to you, and it was when she was getting her class schedule.
So class schedule.
Class schedule.
Now, a schedule is the list of things you do at what time.
Right, so it's the timetable of your day or your week.
Yep.
All right. And your class schedule will say all the classes that you have and what time they're at.
So what other types of schedules can we have?
You also have maybe a gym schedule.
That's right. Or even a work schedule.
Right. So we have different types of schedules and you can use it depending on what you are doing. Those are all the phrases we have for putting it together today. And now let's listen to the dialogue for the last time and then we'll come back.
Excuse me, is this where I register? I'd like to sign up for my courses for next semester.
Yes, of course. I need your student ID, please.
Here you are.
Okay, Susan. It says here that you are a business major and that you're in your second year. Is this information correct?
Yes, I do want to take some additional credits this year to get a minor in psychology.
Sure, that's not a problem. Do you have the list of courses that you want to take this semester?
Yeah, here's my list. I'm not sure if the class schedule will allow me to take all of them, though.
Yeah, that's perfect. What about the subjects for your minor?
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I need to take fundamental linguistics, consumer psychology, and neuroanatomy.
Wow, you're going to be busy this semester. Okay, here you go. You're registered now. You have to make your first tuition payment before classes start.
All right, so we were talking about second year, first year, third year, etc.
Yep.
Now, there are also other names that we give to each year, both for high school and university.
And I think this is only for America, like in the United States. We don't do this in Canada, and I always get so confused. So, Marco, what is the name you give to first-year students?
Okay, so first year students are called freshmen.
Okay, because they're fresh.
Because they're fresh,
Yeah.
yeah. They just came from middle school, they just came from high school.
All right, and what about the second-year students?
They're called sophomores.
Okay, because they're soft?
Soft. No, well, it's not soft, it's sophomore, like S-O-P-H.
Sophomore.
Sophomore. And then third year students are called juniors.
Okay, because they're almost it's like junior manager.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because then last year students are called seniors.
Uh-huh. So
So-
they're the oldest guys in the school.
Exactly. So you can say, yeah, I'm a sophomore at Arizona State University.
Okay, so we only use this in America, though, right?
Yes, it's very and not only for university but also for high school.
Okay.
Registering for university, understanding the process. When students want to study at a university, they need to register first. Registering for university means filling out forms and giving important information to the school. This process helps the university know who you are and what you want to study. Many universities have websites where students can register online. Other universities may ask students to visit the school and fill out papers in person. It is important to check the university's rules and deadlines to register on time. When registering, students usually need to give their name, address, and contact details. They may also need to share their school records to show their past studies. Some universities ask for extra documents like a passport or an ID card. It is a good idea to prepare these documents before starting the registration process. Understanding the process of registering for university helps students feel ready and organized. It is helpful to read the instructions carefully and ask for help if needed. Universities often have staff or offices to assist new students. Asking questions can make the process easier and help students complete everything correctly. Preparing the required document. When registering for university, preparing the required documents is a very important step. Universities need different types of information to understand a student's background and qualifications. Having all the necessary documents ready can make the registration process easier and faster. It is a good idea to collect these documents early to avoid stress or delays. Different universities may ask for different papers, so it is important to check their website or contact the university office to know exactly what they need. One of the most common documents students need is proof of identity. This can be a passport, an identification card, ID, or a birth certificate. These documents help the university confirm the student's name, age, and nationality. International students may also need to provide a visa or a residence permit if they are studying in a different country. It is important to check the rules for international students because these may be different from the rules for local students. Another important document is the academic record. This shows the student's previous education and grades. For example, students who want to register for university usually need to provide their high school diploma or certificate. Some universities may ask for transcripts, which list all the subjects and grades the student has completed. These records help the university decide if the student meets the requirements for their programs. It is important to have official copies of these documents. And sometimes the university may ask for translations if the papers are not in the local language. In addition to identity and academic records, some universities may ask for other documents. For example, they may request letters of recommendation. These letters are written by teachers, employers, or other people who know the student well. They explain why the student would be a good fit for the university. Some universities also ask for a personal statement or essay. This is a piece of writing where the student talks about their goals, interests, and why they want to study at the university. Writing a clear and honest personal statement can help the university understand the student's motivation and future plans. Students may also need to provide financial information. Some universities want to know how the student will pay for their studies. This is especially important for international students. They may need to show proof of financial support, such as bank statements, scholarship letters, or sponsorship documents. This helps the university confirm that the student can afford tuition fees and living expenses during their studies. It is also helpful to keep copies of all the documents. Sometimes, universities may request extra copies, or the student may need to show these papers later. Keeping everything organized in a folder or a digital file can make the process smoother. Students should also check if the university requires online submissions or paper copies. Many universities accept documents through their website or by email, but some may still prefer physical copies sent by mail or delivered in person. Finally, students should review all their documents carefully before submitting them. Mistakes in forms or missing papers can cause delays or problems with registration. It is a good idea to ask someone else to check the documents or to contact the university if there are any questions. Being careful and organized helps students complete the registration process correctly and successfully. Preparing the required documents is a key part of registering for university. It shows the university that the student is serious and ready to begin their studies. By gathering all the necessary information and following the instructions, students can feel more confident and prepared for the next steps in their academic journey. Completing the application form. One of the most important steps when registering for university is completing the application form. This form collects important information about the student and helps the university understand who is applying. Filling out the application form correctly is essential because mistakes can cause delays or even prevent the application from being accepted. Students should take their time. Read the instructions carefully and make sure they provide accurate and honest information. Each university may have a slightly different application form, but many of the questions are similar. The first section of the application form usually asks for personal information. This includes the student's full name, date of birth, gender, and contact details. Contact details are very important because the university may use email, phone, or mail to send important information. Students should check that their phone number and email address are correct and easy to read. If the student moves to a new address during the registration process, they should inform the university as soon as possible to avoid missing important updates. Another common part of the application form is the academic history section. In this section, students must provide information about their previous education. This usually includes the name of the schools they attended, the years they studied there, and the qualifications they received. For example, if a student finished high school, they need to write the name of the school and the year they graduated. Some universities ask for detailed information about grades or scores. Students should prepare their academic records in advance so they can easily fill out this section. If the form asks for exact dates or official names, it is better to check the documents rather than guess. Accurate information helps the university review the application quickly. Many universities also want to know which course or program the student wants to study. The application form may ask the student to choose a major, which is the main subject they want to study. Some universities allow students to select more than one choice in case their first option is full. It is important for students to think carefully about their program choice and be sure it matches their interests and future goals. If the student is unsure about which program to choose, they can often find information on the university's website or speak to an advisor. Writing the correct name of the program is essential because universities may offer similar programs with slightly different titles. In some cases, the application form may ask for additional information. This could include work experience, volunteer activities, or special skills. Some universities want to know if the student has participated in extracurricular activities like sports teams, music programs, or student organizations. Including this information can show that the student is well-rounded and has experience beyond the classroom. If the student has work experience, they may need to list the company name, job title, and the dates they worked there. It is helpful to prepare a list of these activities before starting the application form to make this section easier to complete. Some universities also ask for information about the student's language ability, especially if the student is applying from another country. If classes are taught in English, the university may ask for an English language test score, such as TOEFL or IELTS. The application form may have a section where the student enters their test scores and the date they took the exam. If the student has not taken a test yet, it is important to check the university's language requirements and schedule a test as soon as possible. Some universities also offer language preparation courses if the student needs extra help with English. Students may also need to provide emergency contact information. This is the name and contact details of a person the university can call in case of an emergency. This person is often a parent, guardian, or close family member. It is important to ask for permission before providing someone's contact details and to make sure the information is correct. Before submitting the application form, students should review it carefully. It is easy to make small mistakes, such as writing the wrong date or leaving a question blank. Reading through the entire form one more time can help find and fix any errors. Some universities allow students to save their application and return to it later, which gives extra time to check the details. If the form is handwritten, it should be clear and easy to read. If the form is online, it is a good idea to check that all required sections are filled before clicking the Submit button. After completing the application form, some universities require a payment for the application fee. This fee helps the university process the application and review the documents. Students should check how much the fee is and how to pay it. Common payment methods include credit cards, bank transfers, or online payment systems. It is important to keep a receipt or confirmation after paying, as proof that the payment was successful. Some universities offer fee waivers for students who cannot afford the application fee. If a student needs help with the fee, they should contact the university's admissions office to ask about their options. Completing the application form is a key step in registering for university. It requires attention to detail, careful preparation, and patience. By providing accurate information and reviewing the form thoroughly, students can increase their chances of a successful registration. Taking time to understand each section and seeking help when needed can make the process smoother and less stressful. After submitting the application, the process of registering for university is not over. There are still important steps to follow, and students should stay organized and attentive. It is natural to feel excited or nervous while waiting for a response from the university. During this time, students should check for updates regularly, prepare for the next stages, and be ready to respond if the university needs more information. Understanding what happens after submitting the application can help students feel more confident and prepared. One of the first things to do after submitting the application is to check for a confirmation message. Many universities send an email or a message on their online portal to confirm that they have received the application. This message may include important information, such as a reference number or instructions on how to track the application's progress. It is a good idea for students to save this confirmation in a safe place. If the university does not send a confirmation within a few days, students should contact the admissions office to make sure their application was received successfully. Students should also check their email inbox and the university's online portal regularly. Universities may send requests for additional documents, updates on the application status, or important deadlines. Sometimes the admissions office may need clarification or more information, such as missing paperwork or a corrected form. Responding quickly to these requests is important to avoid delays in the registration process. Students should also check their spam or junk email folders to make sure they do not miss any important messages. While waiting for a decision, students can prepare for the next steps. If the university requires an interview as part of the application process, it is a good idea to start preparing early. Some universities conduct interviews online, while others may ask students to visit the campus. Practicing common interview questions, such as "Why do you want to study this program?" or "What are your future goals?" can help students feel more confident. It is also helpful to research the university and the chosen program to show genuine interest and understanding during the interview. For universities that require entrance exams, students should continue studying and preparing. Entrance exams may test general knowledge, specific subjects, or language skills. It is important to know the exam date, format, and topics covered. Some universities offer sample questions or practice tests on their websites. Taking time to review and practice can improve a student's chances of performing well on these exams. If the student has already taken an exam like TOEFL, IELTS, or SAT, they should confirm that their official scores have been sent to the university. If a student is applying to multiple universities, they should keep track of each application's status and deadlines. Different universities may have different timelines for reviewing applications and sending decisions. Some universities provide an estimated decision date, while others may take several weeks or months. Keeping a checklist with each university's deadlines, required documents, and communication can help students stay organized. When the university makes a decision, they will usually send an official letter or email. If the student is accepted, the next step is to follow the instructions in the acceptance letter. This may include confirming their place by signing a form, paying a deposit, or registering for classes. Some universities have strict deadlines for accepting an offer, so it is important to respond quickly. If a student is placed on a waiting list, they may still have a chance to be accepted if other students decline their offers. It is important to follow any additional instructions and stay in contact with the university. If a student is not accepted, they can explore other options. Some universities offer a second round of applications or alternative programs. It may also be possible to improve qualifications and apply again the following year. Receiving a rejection can be disappointing, but it does not mean the end of a student's academic journey. Seeking advice from teachers, counselors, or university staff can help students plan their next steps. For students who are accepted, there are still several tasks to complete before classes begin. One of the most important steps is paying tuition fees. Universities usually provide information on how to pay these fees, including the amount, payment methods, and deadlines. It is essential to follow these instructions carefully to secure the student's place in the program. Some students may qualify for scholarships or financial aid. If a student has applied for financial assistance, they should check the status of their application and provide any additional documents if requested. International students may need to arrange travel and accommodation. If a visa is required, they should apply as soon as they receive their acceptance letter. The visa process can take time, and missing deadlines can cause problems. It is also helpful to find housing early, whether on campus or in private accommodation. Some universities offer housing services to help students find a place to live. Students should also plan their arrival date and make sure they understand the university's orientation program, which helps new students adjust to campus life. In addition to practical tasks, students can also begin preparing for academic life. This may include purchasing textbooks, reviewing course materials, and becoming familiar with the university's online systems. Many universities offer student portals where students can check schedules, register for classes, and access important resources. Logging into these systems early can help students understand how to use them before classes start. Finally, it is important to stay in touch with the university and ask for help if needed. Most universities have offices dedicated to helping new students with questions about registration, housing, or other concerns. If a student is unsure about any part of the process, they should not hesitate to contact these offices for guidance. Being proactive and organized can make the transition to university life much smoother. After submitting the application, the registration process continues with careful attention to follow-up tasks and deadlines. By staying organized, responding quickly to requests, and preparing for the next steps, students can successfully complete their registration and begin their university journey with confidence.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
To place one's name on a roll or register, sign up.
Enroll.
Officially put your name on a list for something.
Sign up for.
A short piece of writing on one subject that argues one point of view.
Essay.
The field one studies in university.
Major.
A long piece of writing that you must do at the end of a course.
Term paper.
Points you receive towards your degree.
Credit.
An exam or big test given halfway through the course.
Midterm.
Timetable. List of appointments and times.
Schedule.
The last exams at the end of a semester.
Finals.
Educational fees.
Tuition. Let's try that faster.
A short piece of writing on one subject that argues one point of view.
Essay.
The last exams at the end of a semester.
Finals.
Educational fees.
Tuition.
The field one studies in university.
Major.
Points you receive towards your degree.
Credit.
Timetable, list of appointments and times.
Schedule.
An exam or big test given halfway through the course.
Midterm.
To place one's name on a roll or register, sign up.
Enroll.
A long piece of writing that you must do at the end of a course.
Term paper.
Officially put your name on a list for something.
Sign up for. Now say the word and hear it in a sentence. Sign up for. I signed up for a 1-year gym membership. I really need to lose weight. Sign up for. If you want to assist our meeting, you need to sign up first. Sign up for. I hate signing up for things online because they just send you spam emails. Major. I wanted to become an arts major, but my parents wanted me to study business. Major. Paula majored in physics and applied sciences. She is a real genius. Major. I don't know what I should major in. What do you suggest? Credit. I need to take extra credits this year in order to make up for my laziness last semester. Credit. Tuition at some universities depends on the amount of credits you take. Credit. This class is really important since it's worth 6 credits. Schedule. I need to check my gym schedule because I want to go to my aerobics class this week. Schedule. Tracy has a really light working schedule. She only works from 9 a.m. till noon. Schedule. I just got my class schedule today, and I'm going to be busy 7 days a week. Tuition. College tuition in the United States can be very expensive. Maybe you should study somewhere else. Tuition. I have to save up for my tuition for next semester. Tuition. I have a scholarship, so I only have to pay half my tuition every year.